Hello and welcome to Weeds. Not WDS, Weeds. I'm James.
I'm Jason.
I'm Marty.
I'm Ben.
I'm Toz.
I'm Luke.
And whether you're at home, at school, at work, or beating paper animals with a hefty wooden stick, this is the best Nintendo podcast for news, reviews and discussion delivered straight to your hard drive. You're listening to the Weeds Podcast, episode 24, recorded on Tuesday the 7th of August 2007. Joining me today is our resident jock, Jason Davidson. Hello, brother.
Hey, hello, mate. Hail. Hail to the brother. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. We have a number of guests this week. Firstly, for those of you with a good memory, we have former Weeds host Ben Walker. We cannot get rid of you, can we?
No, I'm like a fly around something that dogs sniff, but I'm not saying your podcast is bad or anything.
And for those with an even better memory, we have former Nintendo Talk host Marty Allen Bennett. Welcome back.
Hello. It's nice to be back. It's been a year.
On loan from Cranky Gamers UK, we have Toz. Good to have you with us again.
Hiya, welcome back to me.
And finally, we have living proof that when you email us, we don't buy it. Luke Murphy, thanks for joining us this week. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. We've got a good show for you this week. We'll be starting off with the hottest Nintendo news stories of the last week and our usual accompanying discussion before moving on to what we've been playing. Our main discussion this week is Nintendo's game formulas and whether or not they need to change. It's all well and good saying if it isn't broken don't fix it, but some level of progress is needed. Finally, we'll be finishing off with our usual segments, including Our Man in Japan, the latest Smash Bros. News and Virtual Console releases. All that and much more to come, so stay tuned. As Luke has proved, you can email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com, and if you register that address in your Wii address book, we'll send you a message to your Wii informing you when the next episode is out. You can join the boards at www.weedsforum.com, where you can chat with fellow listeners and the hosts, leave us feedback on the show, and make suggestions and so forth. As we said last week, we've updated our website, www.weedspodcast.com, where you'll find blogs of the host, any videos that users have sent us in. If you want to send us one in, email weedspodcast@gmail.com. And more importantly, you can find out where each episode is, and you can keep up to date with whether or not you're going to be getting it each week, which we plan to do. Quick announcement, we apologise for not doing a show last week. Tom and I were on holiday, Manny's computer was bust and Jason was working, but hey, we're here back this week, so all is right with the world. We're going to dive straight into it with our first news story, Viva Pinata 4DS. Rare announced that a version of the Xbox 360 title Viva Pinata will appear on DS. The company's website promises the DS version will be controlled only by the stylus and will not only include the entire range of Paper Beasts from the Microsoft installment, but also a few new ones thrown in to spice up things for those familiar with the established cast. New game modes will include Sandbox, allowing players full and easy access to their favourite pinatas, and episodes which will tie in with the TV series and give fans of the show the chance to spend quality time with familiar faces. Now, I think this is quite good. It's good that Rare is still supporting the DS, which is something that we all worried about. I mean, Rare was something of a sore subject with Nintendo gamers because they left, but this is continuing development for DS, and this is their first serious development that hasn't been like a port of a previous title.
I would say this game is made for the DS and the Wii. It's just the 360 game. The 360 one is fun, but it doesn't control very well, and it's just not the type of game you want to be seeing on the 360. So, I think it coming out on the DS, it will definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there, Ben. The DS will be absolutely perfect for it. I mean, I played it on the 360. Initially, it was good, bright. But I think Microsoft really tried it just for the children market, didn't they? As they've been going on the first person and more, stronger gamer way. But they tried it for the younger people, and it backfired. I think they lost a lot of money on it as well. But as for the DS, yeah, I think it's just made. It's going to be great. I've heard that it is purely stylus controlled. I think it will work. It probably will work very well, yeah.
I never really got this game. I mean, once they turned it into a TV show, it just looked like total crap. Because really, what is it? You're just going around whacking pinatas. I mean, that's about as much fun as maybe like Pokemon.
It's nothing like that in the actual game. I mean, I'm sure the TV show was just a spin-off from.
No,
the
you're right. The TV
I've
show
got that
did.
wrong.
Yeah, TV show did come after the game, but it's nothing like that. The game is actually quite good. It's basically Sim style building. You're building things and you're progressively building a garden. It's actually, I think it's got a bad press more than it deserves, to be honest. Given if you do actually spend some time in the game, it is a very good game. And like I say, I think the DS will work because I'm guessing that the DS has got a more younger generation following anyway. I think it will work. I really do.
It's very Nintendo, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised. I mean, what is actually happening with Rare now? Where are they at?
Well, as far as I'm aware, they're exclusive to Microsoft in terms of home consoles, but they're still allowed to develop for the DS for some reason.
It was quite surprising, wasn't it, that they did go to back to the DS and Nintendo, because like you said, they did leave under a very heavy cloud, because the titles they released were superb, and I think Nintendo fans was here. I was at the time, because I think I had every Rare title when they left, the Donkey Kongs and everything. But yeah, I don't think they've got long left at Microsoft, to be honest.
Well, we spoke of this last episode. Rare is still very restricted in terms of what they're making, what Microsoft want them to make, and as a result, we haven't seen nearly as many of their games over the last generation. Who knows, maybe they'll go to Sony.
Well, they need it, don't they? They need anybody.
Okay, let's move on to our next news story. No Nintendo conference at Leipzig. Nintendo has announced that it will be not holding a press conference at this year's games convention in Leipzig, opting instead to lead groups of attendees around the show on media tours. A spokesperson from Nintendo UK told Eurogamer that representatives from Nintendo Germany will guide groups of people around the stands, explaining the games and giving a more detailed hands-on. The spokesperson said, "The real reason why we're doing it is because you only fully understand a lot of our products when you play them. We felt focus and attention was better spent on more intimate briefings rather than just one big press conference." Now, I think this is a good idea. I mean, given the complete lack of reaction from the audience at E3, they need to try something a bit different.
Really, I don't see why they don't just let people walk around and try the games themselves. Wouldn't it be just a little bit easier for them, though? It's not like they're going to go vandalizing anything, is it?
Well, yeah, as we were saying last week, E3, there was no audience reaction, so Nintendo didn't really get a feel for how well they're doing. If anything, the press prefer hands-on. I mean, that's why the journalists of the world are praising the new E3, because they got more time to try out the games. Rather than queuing for 4 hours and playing 10 minutes, they're queuing for half an hour and playing for a good hour on a new game. It gives them a better impression of the game, so they can give a bit more of a fair view.
I'm quite surprised that they are missing out, actually. I mean, I think the shows like Leipzig are very important to all of them now. I mean, are Nintendo getting a little bit, big for the boots as regards, we're flying high, we're selling millions of consoles when they finally decide to make them, that is. And these kind of shows don't matter anymore. I actually think that E3 didn't work just because purely the Nintendo fans have been screaming for the top 3 titles and they're not there. I think that's the reason Nintendo didn't do anywhere near as what they should have done at E3, because purely the Nintendo fans have just been waiting for Mario, for Metroid, forever. I mean, how long more have they got to wait? And the UK gamers, as we know, have got to wait a long, long more time, because the release dates that are coming out, let's not forget the US, they're not UK. We're not going to see Mario until 2008, June, if we're lucky.
So you say that, but I would argue that, you say that they're getting too big for their boots. I would argue that this is a move to downsize their presence at Leipzig. Rather than having a huge stage with flashy videos saying, "We're over here," they're saying, "Come over here, into the corner, and you can play some games." A bit dodgy, but it's still a good move. I can see it being a bad move for Nintendo, because while I like the reasoning behind it, it's going to make their presence less noticeable at Leipzig, so they're going to be overshadowed by their rivals.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, yeah. But I still think the shows are important to show them. I mean, could it be the fact that they've still not got these games available to really to show the people yet?
Yeah, I'm just annoyed with Nintendo because what other big name games, like say, off the top of my head, Metroid and Brawl are coming out in Europe this year? They're all coming out next year. There's nothing really big coming out.
Yeah, you're right, Marty. I mean, I've argued this fact, as probably people on WID's forums all know too well, that I got mine on the day of release, my Wii, and it went. I swapped mine at Christmas, and I swapped mine under the sole pretense that I knew that it was going to be a long, long time before any of these titles come out. And where are we? We're getting close to a year now, and we're still waiting for them. And like you say, Marty, where are the bigger titles? Where are? I've not heard of anything bigger.
Well,
No.
Toz,
And
there's just to cut button there is actually Paper Mario for the Wii out this Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
probably two or
it's
three
coming
good
out.
third-party
No,
titles.
listen. No, wait, Jason, it's coming out like in a week or 2 weeks' time.
yeah.
But there are big titles coming out.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, you're saying Paper Mario is coming out. Great, okay, fantastic. One game. How long's it been out in America? You know, I mean, let's be right about it. Let's be right here as well. How many people now, realistically, 3-4 months ago, knew about Paper Mario, was thinking, God, that looks fantastic. But you tell me now, how many are sat there thinking, yeah, okay. They're taking too long for the UK and Europe release, and they keep doing it. And if they keep doing it, I've got big doubts that they'll stay where they are.
I agree, mate.
Okay, but Tuz, they do have a reason for not releasing them, in Europe, as alongside America, because Europe's got what, 6, 7
European
different.
trading laws.
Well, not just that, but they've got 6 or 7 different languages. They all have to be translated into it with a text-heavy game.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, Ben, about the languages. But you know it as well as I do. We've got USA language. There's no reason they can't release it in the UK. After all, the UK is a very big part of the market.
I know, fair enough. But I do agree with what you're saying about the whole, the hype has sort of died down. Because Paper Mario, when it first came out in America, I was like, whoa, I've got to get this game. But now it's just not.
I've heard that today. I've heard that today from another source, from another podcast. They said exactly the same about Paper Mario. That the hype when it came out in America, everybody was screaming for it, absolutely screaming. And to be honest, would you go out and buy it tomorrow if it come out?
No.
That's exactly where I see Nintendo at the minute.
But listen, it's the complete opposite with America. I mean, they're all screaming for strikers charged, football, and it's like
it is, but that is a rare chain swap round, though. I mean, it happens one in 100 titles that way. One comes out in Europe and then comes out in the US. I mean, we all know what the situation we're left in. We pick up the scraps 6-8 months down the line, don't we?
And I'm proud to be an American.
Okay, let's move on to our next news story. ID hints at Quake DS. ID Software's John Carmack has said that he would like to do a Quake Arena-themed game on the DS. While speaking at QuakeCon, he described a 2-week holiday in a hotel working with the DS dev kit and said that Quake for DS would probably be the next DS game. He said, "I'm pretty sure I'm going to make this one happen. My early inclination on this is to build a game that is definitely Quake Arena themed, but leave it more or less Doom 2 style deathmatch with a 2.5D. Carmack also mentioned the possibility of Orcs and Delves on Wii.
What is a Quake game, first of all? I've never played that.
Well, Quake is like one of the oldest first-person shooter games like on PCs. It's basically run around claustrophobic caverns, shooting various mutants, anything that moves. Shoot anything that moves. It's Doom, it's Wolfenstein, it's what they did next.
Yeah, that would be really fun on Wi-Fi, and you could get new weapons or something. I mean, it would work on the Wii too, because you could download new weapons, and then you could download new arenas and stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Quake is awesome, and it's like. But wouldn't people? There's much better FPSs out now, so wouldn't people just be getting this purely for the nostalgia, sort of, to go and play an old Quake game? Because this 2.5D thing is sort of. I mean, the DS we've seen can handle full 3D, so I can't see myself picking up this game. It doesn't. I don't really see the draw with it.
In my personal opinion, it's probably one of the most overrated FPS series, probably of the last century. And to be quite frank, to me it just seems like if it comes out on the DS, it's like, it's just another really dire first-person shooter. And when you get to the point where it comes out, okay, it could have some nice controls, but if it's anything like Metroid Prime Hunters, it's going to be an absolute disaster. Because using the stylus to point and shoot and using the trigger buttons just doesn't work. I don't know about you guys, but hand-eye coordination just does not work with me when it comes to doing that. But the only redeeming feature of the Quake series is that the story was actually quite epic, and it had some really nice little sort of trickling sort of like parallel lines. Like sort of story-wise that we're going through it, and of course each one, kind of like the Halo franchise, you've got like a extending story which obviously sort of continues on from one after the other. But obviously in the past couple of years, if you've seen some of the previous Quake games, they've just been basically like online, big massive multi-online shooters with big arena, big style, levels. Nothing really to it other than that.
I've got to slightly disagree with you there, Jason, a bit on the Quake. I actually think Quake, you've got to give it some credit. I mean, it was one of the first, and I've actually played 3 of them to a finish. Now, I don't think they're as bad as you're quite saying there, but as regards to the DS, I can't remember the title offhand, but I've actually played, I think, is it Battlefront, that was a recent release, like a first-person shooter, and I've got to say, although they're not my cup of tea, most of them, it handled really, really well on the DS, full 3D, and the control, I've got to say, was a million times better than Metroid, because I had everybody on about Metroid. It was the best game on the DS. I got it. It lasted 15 minutes for me because I was getting cramp and I could not play that game. The control system probably for that was the worst ever. But as regards Quake, I think it'll work on the DS. If you can check out, I think it's Battlefront. I can't remember offhand, but if you can check that out, go and check that out on the DS. It's well worth looking at. It's a good game.
Well, it's funny you say that. Carmack actually said that he was thinking of the Metroid Prime Hunters control scheme when he was dreaming up this, and he does like that control scheme, so it's not brilliant.
But did you actually think the Metroid was actually comfortable to use? I thought it was.
I've not played it.
Oh God, pick it up and try, because if you can find a worse game to control than that on the DS, then I'll be amazed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I ended up using a 2 analog sticks sort of thing, with the 2 deep A, B, X, Y, and the D-pad, because I couldn't do the touch screen.
I think I was using the left bumper for the firing. I mean, you literally had got to have hands coming out of everywhere. It was truly horrendous, I thought.
Okay, final news story. Breaking news. The Wii System update. Nintendo uploaded a new firmware update for the Wii this morning, bringing some noticeable changes to the Wii menu and accompanying systems. The most obvious addition is the time display at the bottom of the menu, while the news and weather display icons now show the latest headlines and local forecast. The message board icon now flashes when there's something to read, and the address book has become more flexible, allowing you to rearrange contacts and register new ones simply by pressing A on a blank spot. Now, I downloaded this, got the message from someone, downloaded it, updated, took a while, checked out all the new features, thought, wow, this is quite cool. But why on earth did we not get this at launch? I mean, surely they went through a stage where they were designing the menu. Are you honestly telling me that no one came up with the idea, oh, let's put a clock there, let's make that button flash? I mean, this is it's another case of it being too late.
I just want to ask the question where, obviously, as you know, I've not got a Wii at the minute, and I was just going to ask you guys who still have got your Wii, how has it gone with the front end of the machine? Have they promised more channels? Have they delivered? Are you getting the channels? Because when I'd still got my Wii, there was promising weather and news, and I'm still amazed they've never done the DS yet, the DS demos on the channels. I mean, what is the channels actually like? Because they're still, to me, lagging behind that they could do it.
Well, basically, we've not had a new channel, I think, since Everybody Votes on Valentine's Day, February 14th, it isn't on, really. I just think that's pretty out of order.
Yeah, that is amazing. Is it that long since a channel?
Yeah,
I mean,
they promised a new one in April, which I think is the same one they mentioned at E3, the like rating your Miis, which is a pretty, well, it's a quirky little idea, but it's not going to be fun for very long.
No, it's
they also.
yeah, exactly. It's just.
Yeah, go on, Ben. You're right, mate.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like the whole rate your Miis thing. I mean, seriously, who is going to spend time, doing that? I mean, I really can't see anyone wanting to waste the time rating Miis. I mean,
Well, if you're bored.
if you're bored, then you get a book out, or you.
To be honest,
play on one of your games,
I
you
actually I got rid of my Wii. I think it was actually the day before the release came out for the voting, and I never laughed so much in all my life when I thought people were joking when they said what had come out. I mean, what use is a voting channel? I mean, you've got your DS screaming where they could get download channel, which would be absolutely hammered. They could even charge for it, knowing Nintendo. And what do? They bring a channel out, let's vote on ridiculous, no point, stupid questions. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Nintendo have mocked up a little bit. I don't know, I would have expected a new channel by now. It's been, how many months? 6.
What channels have they actually promised?
Well, just this voting for Miis. Oh, and now this new Wii software, WiiWare.
Has the DS actually been mentioned at all as a channel download, a demo download?
Not at all.
I find that amazing, to be truthful. Crying out for it.
I remember you guys were saying how long it had taken to download. Well, think about the next one, the next update. If that's anything like this, think about how long that'll take to download.
Yeah, the most recent update for me took absolutely forever. It took about half an hour, and it was probably 500 to 1 megabytes worth of data, and it's just.
Isn't the download speed just because it's a brand new download? If I remember rightly, whenever they released a new one, it used to take ages. Now I'm on a very fast line here.
I know, but still, I mean, it was. I mean, think what it's going to be like when there is a new channel or something. I mean, that was just ridiculously slow, and no, I thought they would have got that sorted out by now.
Okay, if there's no other news, we will move on to what we've been playing. Okay, we're going to let the guests go first. So, Luke, what have you been playing this week?
Me, I've actually been playing a lot of Chocobo Tales, the one game that I still haven't beaten on my DS. That and Twilight Princess, that's been fun. Last level, almost there.
Okie doke. Tars, what have you been enjoying this week?
Yeah, mate. As you know, I'm Wiiless, but I think today I actually I got my Final Fantasy III reloaded again on the DS. I think that must be about the 10th time I've tried it. I still don't think I'll get through it, but I keep trying. But as regards main games, I had some cracking Rainbow Six multiplayer last night till the early hours, 4:30 AM, 16-player multiplayer. Just picked Rainbow Six up, and yeah, that was a cracking night's entertainment. But yeah, I think that's about it really, just Rainbow Six at the minute. Oh, and Tiger Woods Golf 07. I'm getting the achievements through that, but yeah, nothing on the Wii, as you know, I'm Wiiless.
Cool. Marty, stupid question, but what have you been playing this week?
I'll need you ask. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, and more Pokemon, because Pokemon Pearl has just come out, so that's really all I've been playing. But outside of Nintendo, I have been playing Guitar Hero 2 and the new 80s one a little bit, because I'm a bit of a Guitar Hero fan. Being able to play the guitar myself, it's just a very addictive game, and also the fact that my favourite band is on the Xbox version of the game doesn't help. So yeah, that's all I've been playing.
I don't know why I thought I would be surprised by that. Ben, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, I've been playing my 360. I haven't touched my Wii, I'm going to be honest, because there's just nothing on there that I really want to devote some time to. So I've been playing a lot of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which is absolutely fantastic, James. May I let you know? Completed Halo 2 Gears of War multiplayer, but the highlight of my week, I actually finally got my hands on a PlayStation 3 for the day, and I played that all day. And it's not actually as bad as everyone is making out to be. I mean, me and my friends must have spent about 2 hours just on Flow, which is one of the PlayStation Network games you can download, because it's just so competitive multiplayer. And then we also played some Ridge Racer 7. I think it is Ridge Racer 7, and that was just a laugh. So yeah, I mean, I can't knock it. I mean, fair enough, it's not worth the money that they're charging, but I mean, still, it's not that bad. And the controller is so light. I mean, it is incredible. I feel as if if I dropped it, it'd just smash into a million pieces because it feels really fragile. Everything. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Okay, and Jason, you've been playing much this week?
Yes, James. I've actually gotten right back into Sonic and the Secret Rings. Actually, I think I left it about 2 months ago, and I was about halfway through it. I think it was about 60% complete, roughly. But yeah, I've been playing that again. I've had a lot of fun playing that again, and the controls are. I actually just totally forgot how well it controlled. And yeah, I mean, to me, it's probably the best 3D Sonic game in the past, I'd say, 10 years since the original Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. So yeah, I've been playing that quite a lot actually. Other than that, I played Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz. I'm actually playing the single player story mode on that one, and a couple of the mini games with a few mates around. It's a lot of fun. And for the Xbox 360, which of course I have, I've been playing Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. Absolutely brilliant game. It is. I mean, it's not like Gears of War. I mean, in the sense that that you just go around and it's far more tactical. It's a really slow-paced tactical shooter. You take your time. Loads of weapons to choose from. They all have realistic kind of reactions, and the AI is so damn good. I mean, it just you feel that you're actually playing real people, but it's AI, and of course online there's 16-player co-op. So it's it's almost as if you're immersed in this giant army of people, and you're all cooperating, tactical wise, to try and do these certain objectives. So yeah, that's what I've been doing most of my time.
As for me, I've been on holiday last week, so I was determined not to take my DS because I didn't think I'd impress any ladies or woo anyone while playing on a handheld.
You'd woo me, James.
Cheers, I'll bear that in mind. But the day I got back, I bought Pokemon Diamond, so I've been playing that this morning, and I'm going to save my thoughts for our main discussion. A few weeks back, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were released in the UK, marking the DS debut of Nintendo's best-selling franchise. However, the game has received criticism from the media that it's too similar to every other entry in the series, and that the franchise itself is showing a severe lack of progress. Now, granted that I've only played it for an hour or so, but I'm inclined to agree with them. I mean, yeah, there really is very little change. So today we're going to look at Nintendo's flagship franchises, the formulas they are built on, and whether or not there is any room for improvement. Since it's all fairly fresh in our minds, what could Nintendo do to improve Pokemon?
I don't know how they can improve it. They've got the winning formula, but they're overusing it a little bit. I mean, the proper, is it an RPG, the versions, the blue, red, that sort of thing, that's great, and that's how Pokemon was intended to be. But these spin-offs, like Dash, Ranger, Link, you name it, all the other ones they've brought out, it's just... sure, it's a new way of enjoying Pokemon, but it just feels to me that they're just trying to cash in on the Pokemon image and stretch it out. But I don't really think they can improve. I mean...
I think my largest criticism of the game is the lack of progress. I mean, the graphics haven't changed, The gameplay hasn't changed. The only change is the roster of monsters. Now, while that's a good thing that they've remained true to the originals, for a series that's always going on about evolution, there really is a distinct lack of evolution shown here.
Well, there's no pleasing everyone, really. If the game had changed, they'll be like, oh, they've taken such and such out, and oh, there's not enough Pokemon, and I've already evolved all of them, and I've caught them all. But then they've gone and done stupid stuff, like made more evolutions of Pokemon, like, I don't know, there's evolutions of Electabuzz and Magmar now. And also, I think they're running out of ideas for Pokemon because some of these new Pokemon just look horrendous. Or they might call them original. I just think they look ugly and rushed.
But guys, aren't you missing the massive point here? They don't need to change it, do they? Why do they need to change it? They're selling 10 million every time they bring it out. They're not going to change it. No need to.
True.
And that's the point. I mean, I have actually played it a long time ago. I played the import version a while ago. Never played a Pokemon before, ever. Never even seen one. So I was getting on it because of all the art. Honestly, I'd never even seen one on the screen.
Not even 10 years ago.
No, honestly, never, ever even looked at one. So I went in it with open eyes, never played the game, started it, and I got quite a way into it. I probably got 3/4 through the map. Yes, I could see how good it, what the hype was, what the attract. But as for changing it, they have no need to change it, and they never will change it. Simple as that. Never will.
They never will. It's the same thing repeating over again. Walk, kill stuff, catch stuff to kill more stuff. It's just like never ending. Although, I don't know why people like it. It's just repeated. Recycled material.
Oh, on that point, repeating, well, that's what many games are based on. Pac-Man, Tetris, I can't think of any more, but they're all repeating, but it's still fun.
That's why games never will change that are big. Big games will never change. Your Resident Evils, your Ridge Racers, they just never will, because they just bring one out each time and they sell millions of copies. Why are they going to sit around a desk and say, oh, I know, let's make a complete change and let's lose loads of money? Not going to do it. I don't think it's a great game anyway, Pokemon. I just think it's probably grabbed a lot of people when they were young and they just do it, and a lot of going on for the ride just with the hype. But it's a half decent game, I would say, if I was reviewing it. Nothing brilliant, nothing special, but not bad.
You said about Pac-Man being repetitive and Tetris being repetitive, Marty, but those are games you can just flick on and have a quick 10-minute bash, deleting lines or collecting dots or whatever.
Yeah, Ben, I knew you'd come up with something like that. I'd hoping you wouldn't.
But Pokemon, right? Pokemon is a long, 20-hour game, and for someone who's been playing it for 10 years, I have and you have, don't you just find it getting sort of boring now? Don't you think the formula is starting to dry out, like an oasis in the desert, using a metaphor there?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I've been playing Pearl, and about, 8 hours through, I just turned to my boyfriend and I was like, this is getting quite tedious. I've done this all before, but I still can't put it down. I don't know what there is, but I'm bored of it, but I'm still playing it, and I don't know why.
Marty, that's just your fangirlism shining through there, I mean, right, whenever they bring out a new game now, whenever they bring out a new Pokemon, I am going to pick it up, because it's just the fact of, have they actually done anything new? But I don't think they ever will, and it's lost my interest. They've finally lost me with the Pokemon thing.
I think the thing that struck me most was the lack of evolution in terms of control. I mean, the control system is still exactly the same as the original games. We're still laboriously tapping A to get through reams of text. I mean, if anything could have improved the series, it's the DS. The speech could appear on the bottom screen, you could have scrolled through it at your leisure, items could be dragged and dropped in their different boxes. I mean, how can they convert complicated games like Zelda Phantom Hourglass to stylus-only control, but we're still anchored to the buttons in Pokemon? I mean, yes, they've used the touchscreen for the battles, and that's helped tremendously. I mean, back when it was on the Game Boy, when you just used one move all the way through the battles, and I did, you're pressing A for about 10-15 minutes, but now with the stylus it's much quicker. The only problem with that is it makes me realise how slow the rest of the game is.
Yeah, I've noticed it is pretty slow. I don't know if that's just because I've got text on slow speed, but yeah, I've noticed. And even when saving, there's a lot of data to save.
It is, don't you think, though, as well? Truthfully, it's horrendous that they've not used the touchscreen. For such a big franchise coming to the DS for the first time, to not use the stylus, to me, is ridiculous. And just one point as well. What really annoys me about this franchise, why do we have to have the diamonds, the pearls, the this, the that, the this? Just bring one out.
If you've got friends.
Just bring one out.
You've got friends?
There is no need.
Yeah.
There's no need for 2 editions of the same game just because there's a few more little sprites of little monsters that you just haven't got. Just add them all to one game.
Exactly.
Simple. I don't like that. I think that's just a blindingly greedy money-making exercise, and I'm amazed that more people haven't trigged on and thought, no, I'm not doing it this time.
Yeah, I have thought that, but sadly, growing up liking Pokemon, I didn't have many friends. So yeah, I have red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. I do have all of the versions of the game.
Let me just ask you one question then through all them years you've done that. What difference have you found between one and the other game that is worth that extra £25 to buy that other game?
Well, for a start, I kind of cheated and asked for them for the likes of Christmas and birthday.
Well, yeah, I know, but that don't count. I mean, what I'm saying is, what value have you got out of the extra money for the same game?
Well, basically, I use one as my main version, like blue, that's my main version, and then on red I just muck about, I don't catch them all, and say on leaf green, I hack it up with cheats just for a laugh. Just because I want to get a certain amount of Pokemon, I'll trade them over, then I'll just muck around on it.
Do you seriously find that then still entertaining today then? Or another question, if 2 more new ones came out next week, Ruby and Amethyst or whatever they're called, would you go out and buy them too?
Of course you would.
and that
Probably,
to me,
yeah.
that I just hate the fact that they do that.
Yeah, you know, I will mention they've got going back to the getting certain creatures on carts. Nintendo are a bit stingy, and they have 3 Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl that you can't get at all, no matter what version. But you have to get it downloaded from Nintendo at a Nintendo event. So this summer they're doing the Pokemon Summer Camp, where you can go and download a Mew.
God,
Not
so
Diamond and Pearl, but if you take your Game Boy Advance game, they put a Mew on it. Luckily, with all 5 of the Pokemon Game Boy Advance games, I could be capable of getting a lot of Mews.
See, people who go to those things need a life really bad.
Please tell me you're not going.
Oh yeah, and they're doing a competition.
Oh
yeah, they're
no!
Doing, me and my boyfriend are going. They're doing a competition.
You need
Yeah, I know.
saving.
They're doing a competition where you dress up as a Pokemon, and if you win, Cartoon Network judges, and if you win, you get a DS, Diamond Pearl, and this other crappy Cartoon Network game. But
Yeah, but you've already got it.
I know, but I'll get Diamond, and I'll give Pearl to my boyfriend.
Oh God, you need therapy.
Oh, we're going for a laugh. But yeah, you can get Mew, and I'm gonna get Mew for every Game Boy I've got. And then I get my friend, I have friends now. I have friends with Diamond and Pearl that are gonna be begging me for one of those Mews. Like, I've got Pokemon Ranger, you can't get a Manaphy on Diamond and Pearl, and they're gonna be begging me for a Manaphy to complete their Pokedex, because I've got the games.
Can I just ask one final question on it, just if you do know? What is the actual difference between these two editions? Is it just extra Pokemon, nothing else?
Different legendaries, different casuals, same with the others, really.
And that's it, just extra Pokemon on one that's not on the other.
It's like the previous games, exactly the same.
And think, it all started out as little pieces of cardboard.
It's just a blatant cash cow, isn't it? They just
actually, moving swiftly on, Sorry, but and then just on the subject of Pokemon, I would just like to say that if anyone's thinking of buying Pokemon Battle Revolution, please do not buy it, because it is the worst in the series. It is atrocious. It should be burnt, and it is essentially Pokemon Stadium on the N64 with some lovely 360 style graphics, very high resolution, and in fact it's worse because there's no many games. In fact, for 40 quid, there's barely any game there. There's just not enough game, and it's just nicer animation. It's just a nice glossy sheen, and that's all it is. Nothing else.
But people will still buy it.
Yes, they will.
It's Pokemon, of course they'll buy it.
And that's why they don't have. That's why they don't have to change it, do they? That's what the subject was. They don't have to change it.
Well, we've dissected Pokemon now, so let's have a look at the other franchises. I mean, the other series are just as guilty. Zelda, for example, the last 4 games, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, have all followed the exact same formula. You get 3 artifacts to get to the Master Sword, you get 3 more, you get more to reach and kill Ganondorf. It's exactly the same premise, exactly the same gameplay, but because they've made more effort with the story, more with the levels, with the world itself, it's much more engaging and you don't notice the repetition. I mean, I would happily buy a new Zelda tomorrow, but I wouldn't buy a new Pokemon game.
True, very true.
Yeah, Zelda's good because there's like less to do. I mean, there's like you got Pokemon, you go around catching every single Pokemon that you possibly can. In Zelda, all that it really is just beat Ganon, plus the different dungeons and stuff that they make, the whole different landscape.
It's just the fact I bring up again. It's just the blatant trying to make money again. I mean, it's basically like if EA started bringing Madden 08 out and they did it for the AFC and the NFC, each league. It's like anybody. If they tried to pull that, they would. They basically. They probably would buy it. And I just hate the fact it's just to drag money. Bring one out, and I think, yeah, leave the people in the corner. Leave Marty to a little Pokemon in the corner. Let her carry on. Ooh. But don't try and rip them off. I mean, that's all they're doing. They're blatantly ripping them off. Don't buy one, buy 2. We don't want £25, we want £50. And we want it every year. It's wrong. It's just horribly wrong.
To be fair, it's kind of been a few years because... And also, another reason this game's big, it's the first on the DS, and it is a bit different to the Game Boy games. But yeah, going back to what Luke said, you have to catch them all on Pokemon. I've noticed there's 2 kind of Pokemon players, the type that beat the Elite Four and Champion, and they feel the end of the game. And there's the type like me that are now going to go out and try and catch all 486 or however many there are. And yeah, it depends. It's a personal thing where you feel the end of Pokemon is for you. You don't have to catch them all. It's actually impossible to catch them all. That is a.
No, it's not, Marty. You just got to be about as obsessed as you are.
Yeah, it's impossible to catch them all because of the whole Nintendo events. They don't happen near everyone, and also people might not have friends with the other version of the game.
Yeah, spending all your time playing Pokemon, of course you don't have friends.
I mean, if we look at other Nintendo franchises, I'm sorry we keep focusing on Pokemon, but with Marty here, that's unavoidable. They've changed some of them dramatically without ruining the core concepts behind them. Metroid's a prime example. That's changed completely since it began. I mean, it started out as a 2D platform game, and that was great. It became a bigger 2D platform game, and that was even better. But then it changed completely and became a first-person shooter, and in my opinion, that did wonders for the series. I mean, it completely revitalised the franchise, and the Prime Trilogy, while it's completely different, it does still hold true to the original concept, to the original spirit of the first Metroid, i.e. you're on a planet, you're exploring the world, and you're upgrading your weapons to find new nooks and crannies until you beat the boss. It's, exactly the same formula. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that Pokemon should switch to first person, although that would be interesting, or anything like that, but I mean, I still maintain that 3D Pokemon could work well on the Ocarina of Time engine. I mean, on Ocarina of Time, when you're walking through a dungeon, you see a monster, you hit C up, and Navi tells you about the monster's weak points. There's your Pokédex system right there. I mean, has anyone else got any ideas on how they would change a core franchise?
Well, I think probably the one for me would probably be Star Fox, because I think if we all think back to the GameCube, Well, did have a Star Fox game, although not the Star Fox Adventure, in case anyone's wondering. We did have, a proper, on rails shooter, and I mean, what can we say about it? I mean, it felt like, the original, of the series, but it just didn't have anything. In fact, challenge-wise, it wasn't even that difficult, and it seemed as if Namco, because obviously it was Namco that took the franchise and did it. It seemed as if they had a few good concepts, and then they just sort of lost they just sort of lost input halfway through development. So to solve that problem, I think it would be to take it back to in-house again, start from the beginning, back to the drawing board, and just completely tear the whole thing apart, and make it a proper free-roaming, kind of, take the on-rails thing away and make it a proper free-flying game.
Well, I would argue that Star Fox is a good example of how you can change the formula and try new things. I mean, the original was a simple arcade shooter. That was good. Lilac Wars was the same, but introduced the free range mode, and that was a good improvement. Then they brought out Star Fox Adventures. Now, that wasn't as good, but it was trying something new. And Nintendo often hail the fact that every Star Fox game tries something completely different. Star Fox Command brought RTS elements to the series, and that really works well.
I think the Star Fox on the DS, the changes they've tried to make there, I think they've been quite good changes. I like to see changes. I've said on my own podcast that I'm just getting a bit sick of I'm getting really, really sick of number 5's this, number 4's this, 6 this, 7 this. It's time that they did try and move on, and I like the fact that Star Fox tried better things. Is there even a Star Fox penciled in for the Wii at all?
No, that's the only Nintendo franchise that we've not heard about for Wii, but it's almost guaranteed.
They'll probably it'll probably be one of the big secrets, won't it, as they sometimes do.
Yeah, E3 next year.
Okay, that wraps up the main discussion. We're going to move on to the Smash Brothers Brawl section. Okay, first item is the footstool jump. Has anyone heard of this?
I've not ever heard of this, actually.
No idea.
Right, well basically, it's you've now got the ability, if you jump on someone's head, if you press the jump button at the right time, you jump higher, so you can use them for a boost. Now, it's only a small touch, but I think it's going to give it shows that there's a lot more interactivity in the game. I mean, on the early ones, like the original Smash Brothers and the original Melee, if you jumped on top of someone, you literally fell through them. This shows that everyone's a lot more tangible this time round.
I think essentially it gives you another way to avoid an attack or oncoming, closer range combo melee. Just gives that extra element to it.
Are you guys real excited about the Smash Brothers still? Is that one of your big titles?
I
am.
That's the reason I'm going to buy a Wii right there.
Are you still all hanging on to the glory that it will be online?
No.
That would be nice, though.
I think you shattered that dream last time you were on the show.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
If anything, there's only 2 games I'm looking forward to, and that is Brawl and Guitar Hero 3. That's it. Nothing else has really got me wanting more information right now. But I just can't wait for Brawl. The Wii needs a good fighter that's not on the Virtual Console.
Changing the subject slightly, Marty, but I actually don't think Guitar Hero 3 will hit the Wii either. I think it's full of holes, what I've read so far on the net.
It says it's coming out on the Wii, and I like to think it will. And the sad fact is, the Wii has an absolutely internal memory, and they've already said they're having serious saving issues on the Wii. And I'm already concerned about my Wii's internal memory because I have a fondness for the Virtual Console.
I've also heard that the wireless might hit problems as well, and also that I've yet to actually even see any video or screenshots of the Wii version of Guitar Hero. Anybody else?
No.
There is a final guitar model with the remote that's inserted inside of it.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I've seen the guitar models, the screens on that, but has anybody actually seen the in-game actually running on the Wii? Because I have seen every other version, but I have not seen the Wii version anywhere.
I haven't, and that's become worryingly common throughout this generation so far, in that if you're looking for images or video on a multi-format title, you will only find it for the next-gen machines, PS3 and Xbox 360. You rarely find the media for the Wii version. I mean, when I was following Spider-Man 3, and wasn't that a hell of a mistake to make, I could only ever find next-gen screenshots, which is probably why I was deluded into buying the game.
Well, yeah, that we all know why. We all know why they did that. They did that purely because the Spider-Man was the biggest bottle of tripe that's ever been delivered on the Wii ever. I mean, as regards Guitar Hero, I mean, Guitar Hero can run on anything. It could even run on the DS.
Oh yeah, they even said they're doing it on the DS. I don't know how that's going to work.
So I'm concerned for any Guitar Hero fans out there that are holding on to the fact that you think it's coming out on the Wii. I've got real big doubts that you'll even see it on the Wii.
Yeah, and this is really cheeky. The fact that even in the official Nintendo magazine, of which I'm a proud subscriber, they have got an article on Guitar Hero 3 for the Wii, and it says something like, "We have no Wii screens for now, so you'll have to do with the Xbox 360 screens." And they can't do that in a Nintendo magazine. That's just...
It's very worrying. Worrying, that is. Very worrying, because, I mean, Guitar Hero looks the same on any system, on any screen. And for them not to be showing video, when all the other systems is due out in about 4 weeks, yeah, I think it's worrying. Very worrying.
Okay, second item this week is the Pitfall. This is apparently an item from Animal Crossing. Basically, it works like the Looney Tunes Acme hole, whereby you just put it on the floor. If someone walks over it, they fall through it. And there's pictures on the site of Donkey Kong with his, stuck up to his torso in the ground. I think this would be quite good. Any new item that incapacitates your opponent is always going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I saw that on the site, and then if you hit somebody with it, it looked like they just flew upward and then got stuck. So you could go down and just start using them like a punching bag, which is always fun. The problem is, though, it's kind of like a motion sensor bomb. If you throw it, and then you accidentally walk over it, then you're pretty much dead.
Yeah, I love the Pitfall in Animal Crossing. It's fun if you get friends into your town. You plant a pitfall, they walk over it, then they get stuck, and it's quite funny to see them just try and struggle out of it. I think that's quite a good idea to incorporate Animal Crossing into Brawl, because, I don't know, is the little Animal Crossing sprite, is that actually in Brawl? Have they announced that? Because it was rumoured. I know it was rumoured, but it's nice that they've tried to put at least something Animal Crossing, like the Nintendog. It's not a big Nintendog on the field, but it blocks the screen as a trap. But I like that they've put something from Animal Crossing there.
Is Metal Gear still penciled in for an appearance on Smash Brothers, by the way?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Snake.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
And the cardboard box is still there.
It might be the tin can now, though.
Okay, third item this week is Ike. New character, always good to have a new character. This character is from Fire Emblem, so it's going to be fairly new to European audiences because we've never really had many Fire Emblem titles over here. I think the Fire Emblem on the GameCube was the first one we got. He's either going to be joining Roy and Marth if they return, or he's going to be on his own. We don't know yet. But regardless, he's just going to be man with sword. When Roy and Marth joined Melee, they were just men with swords. So he's either going to be a third man with sword or a completely new man with sword.
I think he's, the GameCube's Marth and Roy's answer to that. So that he's probably going to have some similar moves to Marth and Roy, on Brawl. But of course, depending on obviously his abilities that were in the game itself, for his own Fire Emblem game, there's probably going to be some sort of special abilities that will transfer along with whatever he does. Because obviously with Marth you had the fire techniques that incorporated, and with Roy, and of course, yeah, that was Roy, and then with Marth you had the really quick counter abilities. So yeah, that's I guess there will be something different about him, bound to be.
Don't know if I've asked this yet, but is there a release date on the Smash Brothers yet? Anyway,
here in America, it's coming out on December 31st. So, a little late for the holidays, but...
Okay, next post, Smoke Bomb. I'm really not bothered about this. It does exactly what it says on the tin. You throw it, it lets smoke out. It doesn't actually affect the characters at all. It just makes them harder to see. It's only an aesthetic thing. I'm really not too bothered about this.
I do remember they had something like the smoke ball in Pokemon, wasn't it? Like one of the attacks, and then it made it hard to see for them. So not only have they brought in Animal Crossing, they've brought in Pokemon attacks too to Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can say about it, is there? Final post, though. What is the Subspace Emissary? Now, we discussed this last week, and just as we predicted, the adventure mode is going to have a story behind it.
You're kidding me. That's got to be the worst game for a storyline.
No, I actually think this is going to be a good thing for Smash Brothers. I mean, in the absence of online, thank you very much, Tuz, Brawl is going to need something to make it stand out from Melee.
All right, okay. Yeah, I think on the Smash Brothers thing, I don't know. I think it's weird, really, because I mean, do we really know how it's going to work?
Well, presumably it's going to work the same way as the adventure mode from Melee, and the site mentions like a different story for each character. So levels will probably be played like in a different order, and the cutscenes will vary depending on what character you've chosen.
Hold on, it sounds like to me as if they're actually going to do something along the lines of Soul Calibur 2, where you've got like several scenarios within each stage that you fight in, and there is a bit of backstory, and yeah, you do unlock a certain weapon. And then, of course, there's like an end cutscene where you see, that you're like the final, battle, and it's got that little bit where it tells you about, it's just that little bit of character development that you have, and it just takes you into each character, and of course, each character's got a unique thing. So yeah, I think that's if you do anything along those lines, then you've definitely got a fully fleshed out, like proper, half decent, like adventure mode.
Yeah, no, the next thing that they think they probably would be adding after that would just figure it'd be like a stat building thing. So, like, you can get the coins that you normally would use for trophies or something, and then you spend it on, like, different stats, like Link's
upgrades.
His normal jab attack. Like, you spend coins on that and it'll do more damage. Or, like, you could make people jump a little bit higher, or something like that.
Good idea.
And then, like, the harder the thing that you complete, then the more coins you get.
Marty, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I'm just, what you said, Soul Calibur, to that kind of storyline. I can see that. That would be a really good idea. Soul Calibur 2, my favourite. I think that is, apart from Pokemon, my most favourite game ever, and I just love how it just works.
Can't go wrong,
and a bit of that on Brawl will be great.
And that change in music can only mean one thing. Our man in Japan is back. Having finished his holiday, he's rushed back home to the land of the rising sun to bring you the latest quirky news from Japan. All the stuff that we don't get over here. Alex, what have you got for us this week?
This week I thought I'd follow the peripherals discussion from last week by talking about a new DS peripheral and the game which was designed for it. The Nintendo Online magazine had an interview with the creators of the slide controller and the game.
A slide controller? Okay, well, tell us about that. How does that work?
Well, it goes into the GBA slot and then it curves under the DS so that the base of the controller rests on your desk and the DS is angled towards you.
That sounds good. I mean, where would they come up for the idea for that?
Well, the controls have been in development since before the DS, so it's existed a long time. It's been a long process. The original prototype was a computer mouse modded to interface with the GBA SP.
What, just a regular computer mouse?
Yeah, just a ball mouse at first, but they soon realized that an optical mouse would be much more practical. They then had problems with improving the sensitivity enough without drawing too much power and had to experiment with different circuits and LEDs and stuff. They said it was a challenge to balance the performance they wanted from the device without having it cost a ridiculous amount. They then had to come up with a design that didn't look like a mouse.
Well, you sent me a link of like a video of the new controller, and I've seen it. It does look really impressive. It looks like it works, and I'll put that in the show notes for the listeners. What about the actual game? I mean, what's it called?
Oh, the game is called Mag Kid, and you control a little magnet battling against various household items that have come to life after lightning struck a house.
Okay, so where did this idea come from?
The chief director got the idea when he was using the controller and remembered playing with magnets and dragging things along with them as a child. In the game, you drag Mag Kid around and slam him into enemies, taking on their abilities in order to complete different tasks. If any of you remember the Micro Machines games from the NES, the look of the game is kind of like that, with a top-down view of kitchen tables and living room floors, that kind of thing.
So what do you actually have to do in the game?
Well, you might have to find parts and reassemble a robot or make a train of enemies in a certain order, all within a time limit. And there are some cool looking bosses, including evil teddy bears, a possessed jelly, and a demonic record player. It also has a handful of mini games and 3 wireless multiplayer battle modes.
Well, that sounds interesting. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much, Alex, and see you next week.
Mata raishu!
Right, sit tight, we're almost done. Going through this week's Virtual Console releases, we now have Breath of Fire 2 for the SNES, available for 800 points, Galaga 90 for the TurboGrafx 16 for 600 points, and Volleyball for the NES for 500 points. And now I'm going to hand over to Jason for this week's review.
Thank you, James. Right, this week's Wii review is Lilac Wars for the Nintendo 64, which is in fact a Virtual Console title. It's an in-house title by Nintendo, and it was in fact released in 1997, which was and to be honest, it was actually a bit of a sleeper hit of that year because no one really expected it, and it came out of the blue. Okay, so once you get into the game, you have about 5, 6 sort of, it's pretty much standard options. You have your main game, which of course is the actual the main meat of the game. You have your training mode, your versus mode, your rankings, your sound, and your language. Versus mode, a brilliant little multiplayer mode. And the highlight of this mode is that there's a bit of almost like a co-op type thing, where you have you and a buddy can pretty much go into any of the the variant maps, and you basically just take out as many bots as you can. There's certain difficulties for this, and the more difficulty it can be, and of course it's split screen mode. So you cooperate, and of course it keeps a count, and you have a certain time limit for this mode. So yeah, that's really, really good for that. The story-wise for the single-player campaign is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it is a very pretty much straightforward, classic tale of good versus evil, but there's lots of twists in it. You start off in your home planet of Canaria, and there's like a huge backstory because as you are Fox McCloud, and of course you are part of the Star Fox team. It's basically like a kind of like a bit of like a solo revenge type tale where it's like your father was killed. There are 11 planets in total within the game once you get into the actual Lilac system, because it's like a 3D, almost like a miniature 3D system that you can like move around and look at. And of course, the game is set on different paths, so one playthrough of the game will not be the entire game. You need to go through several playthroughs of this game and to experience the whole game in itself, because it's just such a big game, and there's multiple challenges, especially if you want to try and get perfect on each level without dying once and having all your wingmates. You get medals for these, and if you get every single medal on every planet and every area, there's like secrets that are unlocked. There's like on foot like characters that you can play as within the multiplayer modes, and there's other maps, and the tank becomes unlocked in multiplayer, and just things like that. It's definitely one of the best looking N64 games of its time, definitely in the top 5 best looking N64 games, up next to Majora's Mask and whatnot. Moving on to free mode is basically what kind of separates the gameplay into a whole different category, where basically it goes from on-rail shooter to completely free roaming. But of course there are limits. It is set in like this arena style kind of combat, and this is mainly again for boss battles, which come to pretty much every second level. The game does have a lot of memorable moments within it. The highlight of the game, for many I think, is probably who have played it, is definitely the Independence Day level, which of course was never actually announced by Nintendo, which it was, but it clearly is a kind of spoof of that film final battle where you have the big ship hovering over, this Carina, and you're trying to protect it, and basically you're going for the core, which is just like Independence Day, which and it's under a timer and you're timed, and of course it's about to explode and obliterate everything in its path, and you have literally thousands and thousands of ships just flying about, and it's in fact even the music sounds like Independence Day. It just feels like it's such a good level. I mean, you play that. I mean, I've played that over hundreds of times, and it's just such a timeless level. So yeah, this is by far the best in the series for the Star Fox and Land War series, as it would be called. It's definitely a must-buy, and it's a cult classic. But on a side note, just to bring up the music side of things, the music is definitely some of the best. I mean, in fact, it's done by Koji Kondo. Of course, the guy who did some of the music for the Zelda series and whatnot. He also did the music for Star Fox, and there's definitely some memorable tunes in there for any Zelda fans. Yes, overall I give it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, over to James.
Okay, and I think that about wraps it up for a week. If you would like to get involved with the show, email the team at weedspodcast@gmail.com, or come and make your suggestions at weedsforum.com, or post a comment at weedspodcast.com. We've got plenty of ways for you to contact us. We'd love to have some Wii Virtual Console or DS reviews. We'd love to hear your thoughts on games. If you've been lucky enough to playtest a game before us, please let us know. We'd love to have you on the show or hear what your thoughts are. If you've got a question for the hosts, or you want to ask our opinion on something like an issue or something, write it down or record it like a minute worth of MP3. Send it in to us. Or if you want to voice your own opinion on a Nintendo issue, feel free to do so. We look forward to hearing from you. Big thanks to Marty, Ben, Luke and Toz for joining this week. It's fantastic having you guys on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, enjoyed it again. Great show. Cheers.
Okay, and editing permitting, you should be hearing this on Sunday. I'd like to remind everyone that if you do want to keep up to date with where the episode is, check out www.weedspodcast.com. I've been updating the top bit at the top. There's a sticky post at the top of the page that tells you where it is, so whether or not I've been editing, any problems I've been having, check that out. While I'm on the subject, and before we go, we do have a slight request for everyone. I've been looking at the listener stats recently, and we've lost a lot of listeners. We used to have about 500 per episode. We now have only 100. Now, obviously, I realise that's because we had few episodes over the summer, because we had like episodes that didn't come out often. We weren't weekly. We were almost like monthly. I can only apologise for that. We've had a bit of a trying summer, but we're doing an absolute. I would hope you agree. We're doing our absolute utmost to get back into it. We've been bringing you the show pretty much weekly, with the exception of last week because we was on holiday. So we're doing our absolute utmost to get this back to a weekly status. We're trying our absolute best to improve the show, but we still really do need your help in spreading the good news to everyone. So one thing you could do for us, and this would be brilliant, if you go onto iTunes, if any of you are iTunes like paying customers, if you can give an honest review of the Weeds podcast on the iTunes store, that would be fantastic. We've only got 7 or 8 reviews at the moment. Most of those are negative reviews from other podcasts flaming us because they think it's going to be funny. But the trouble is, this is going to basically like deter people from downloading the podcast. Obviously, don't go over the top. We don't want any arse kissers here. But give us an honest opinion of the podcast. Please review us. We'd love to see what you think, and it would really help us out. Okay, and I'm going to stop now, and we'll see you all next week.
See you, brothers.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Now that's just sad.
You need saving.
Somebody shoot me.